I won't run from the crushing. I'll hold on through the pain. What I lose means nothing next to what I gain. Come tear down every idol, so this heart won't stray. Don't let me stray. I just wanna be your sanctuary, a dwelling place for grace and mercy. Keep sifting me till
Yes, that would help.
Okay, now
Good
we
morning,
have
everybody.
sound. Good morning.
We have sound. See, I caught it before we went 10 minutes through. Anyway, you are watching the Threshing Floor here on lamnetwork.tv, and this is where we get truth programming 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to counter what the enemy is doing. And we are so delighted to be with you. And we bid Bob and Sean good morning, Brother Al, always faithful. Great to have you all with us. And as you can see, my normal co-host is not with us, Leonie. She's under the weather. And so I tried to pull the weather off of her, but she pulled it back on and snuggled back under it. So she's not feeling well this morning. And if Leonie's not feeling well, it's bad because it's a tough girl. So
Yes.
we will pray for her healing and ask that God would restore her. And why is there a big fuzzy animal right in our line of vision? Listen, buddy, you're interrupting the show here. Anyway, this morning, as we promised last week, and I trust that everybody was blessed by our show last week. I thought that it went well, and the comments have been good. But we wanted to continue it, and Leonie and I kind of stumbled upon something that I hadn't really anticipated us going into, but I think it's very important, and that is to have us to understand what's behind the Disney franchise. Now, a lot of course, people who are regulars to the Lamb Network are well familiar with Walt Disney World and everything that is associated with it. But there's a lot of people that this is still new to, and with everything that's gone on over the past couple of years and the whole woke thing, that word really bugs me because it's not a real word.
Grammatically incorrect.
Yes.
Teacher speaking here. But anyway, let's
Yeah.
keep going.
But it is, very much part of the modern vernacular, and it's part of the culture. And the whole woke thing, which is really a word for progressive, it is word for anti-God. And that's really what's behind it. Well, there's been this huge push with many companies to go woke, to go DEI. Just recently, even the storied franchise of Harley Davidson got into big trouble because their CEO, I don't know anything about this guy, but I mean, he called himself the progressive Taliban or something like that, some stupid name like that. And what he was saying was that not only did he agree with these things, but he was helping support them, the whole DEI, critical race theory, carbon neutral. Harley Davidson, carbon neutral? I mean, come on. You want to talk about a violation of your very identity. So anyway, there was huge pushback. There was a boycott campaign that started, and they kind of backtracked a little. But listen, the companies of the world are going insane. Now, what is behind all of this? Are all of these companies really in favor of this agenda that they're pushing? The answer is no. So why are they doing it? It's because they're being forced to. because the three largest investment companies in the world, which are BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. And if you kind of study BlackRock, BlackRock is the public arm of what Vanguard is. Vanguard is owned by the globalists, the Luciferians. And so they're pushing this massive agenda. And so if they approach a company like Target or whatever, and they say, we want you to go DEI, which is diversity, equality, and inclusiveness, which means that you get hired based on every factor other than merit and what you're actually good at. Because it's got to be about optics. It's got to be about skin color or sexual orientation or something like that. And so they're pushing it. And what they say is that if you don't adopt these DEI policies, then you're not going to get funding. So
there's a scoring system.
Oh yeah, there is.
They
Yeah,
have,
yeah. It's like the Chinese social credit thing. So
yes.
You have here. These companies that are kind of put in a no-win situation where they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. If they don't do it, then they're not going to get funding by, BlackRock, the largest. Yeah. BlackRock has something like $20 trillion under asset. And there, of course, Larry Fink is the CEO, started BlackRock, and he's a big wig within the World Economic Forum. So, you've got all these companies that are being kind of forced into it. But when it comes to Disney is a whole different story, because you go right back to the beginnings of it. And, Walt Disney, of course, he started off as a, he drew cartoons. He was an artist. And there was a point in time where I think story has it that he was supposed to go for an interview, a job interview, and he didn't even have shoes. But there was one guy who knew of him and gave him, believed in him and kind of, bought him a pair of shoes and lent him some money to get him started. Well, the Disney franchise began. And right from the get-go, you knew that there was something off. So if you kind of look into Disney and what it's all about, it's not good. The messaging in there is, well, first of all, what is Disney famous for? I mean, it promoted what? The Magic Kingdom.
It's all about magic.
It's all about magic. Yeah. And if you look at, where is it here? If you look at some of the scriptures, so Disney is all about wizards and magic and spell casting and fairies and spirits and stuff like that. I mean, their mascot is Tinkerbell, and she kind of flicks around and waves her magic wand. And I have a magic wand. You bought me one.
Yes, I did. It doesn't work. But,
no,
we bought one.
No, I keep trying to make things disappear with it, and nothing ends up happening.
No. I mean, we're joking about this, but there is such thing as real magic, and we can probably discuss that a little bit later. I didn't want to distract from that, but yes, magic is not of God. That's all we want to establish from the beginning.
If you look at some of the scriptures, you look at Micah 5:12. It says, "I will cut off sorceries from your hand, and you will have fortune tellers no more." Mm-hmm. So obviously Micah was prophesying in a time where it was going on quite regularly. But even as they're coming out of Egypt, Exodus 22:18 says, "You shall not allow a sorceress to live." And Leviticus 19:31 says, "Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord." Yeah. So there's, and Deuteronomy 18 as well. You shall not allow a sorceress to live. One of the reasons that King Saul ended up dying is because it says that he didn't do what he was supposed to do, which was to exterminate the Amalekites, but also that he sought out a medium. He went to the witch of Endor.
And this is actually, I was going to say, that's a story I usually tell around Halloween to our children. just so that they would understand that magic is made to be this, great thing by Disney and this media, but really in the Bible, it is not portrayed this way. And if we are to watch what witches are, to what magic is, and I'm afraid to say that even some Christians today talk about the magic of Christmas, the magic of whatever holiday, and
So magic is, what is magic? Magic is this power that comes from the dark side. If you look at, I think the first instance that we have of that in Scripture is in the book of Exodus, and you have Moses going to Pharaoh saying, "Let my
yes,
people go," and they start performing signs and wonders. And Pharaoh goes and gets his magicians, and they replicate it for the
right.
first little bit.
So magic is really the imitation of the miracles that God performs.
It's spiritual power.
But the source of it obviously is not of God, and that makes all the
Sorcery.
difference. Sorcery, yes. And the thing is, when we talk about people being spiritual, yes, we are to nurture our spiritual side. But
Mhm.
we've talked many times that not all spirituality is good, and I think this is what we kind of are going to discuss. And so, when King Saul went to discuss to consult the medium and the witch, and to get favor, he was going on the other side
No question.
to instead of going to God, and that is detrimental
Yeah.
to us.
Yeah. So right off the bat, this whole idea of the magic kingdom and fairies, and Dr. Tom Horn, he knew enough about Freemasonry that he was able to get in. So, like Bob is saying here, both in Disneyland and Disney World, there's a club, and it's called Club 33, which is about 33-degree Masons, and you are only supposed to be a 33-degree Mason to get in there. Well, Dr. Horn knew enough about the the handshakes and stuff like that, and the passcodes in order to get in. He went in. He would sit down and talk to these millionaires and billionaires. This is a story I heard from Dr. Michael Lake, and it said that, or he said that, as Tom Horn was talking to these super wealthy guys, they actually believed in this stuff, like fairies, and so that was actually their religion. This is part of the religion of the the occultists, that they truly believe in these things. Steve Quayle wrote a book about that, where you've got fairies and the origins of all it, and it's all demonic.
Absolutely, they're spirits.
They are spirits, but the people at Disney believed in this, and so Disney's job really was to promote this through art and entertainment in order to make it acceptable. I mean, how many people are inured to the fact now that magic is okay?
It's something endearing, yeah. And just to think, like, I've been just kind of going through history lately. From somebody who didn't like history, I'm going into this, like, really exploring history, because I'm realizing there are a lot of lessons to be learned for the days today. And where do we go from, when we had the witch hunts and burning witches, to what we are today, where witchcraft and magic and all that stuff is actually um, openly proclaimed. And we have witch conventions. I mean, I have a story. When I started homeschooling in Peterborough, Ontario, I befriended a lot of homeschool moms there, and I realized several of them were witches. And it's like,
Let's go to the convention.
and they had invitation in one of the groups, in the chats, hey ladies, do you want to go to a witch convention? So it has become just so commonplace that you wouldn't even think that something's wrong with it,
Right.
whatsoever.
And if you look over the past 20 years or so, one of the biggest franchises out there, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is hardcore. That's not even kind of trying to mask it anymore. It's not like Tinkerbell running around going like this and getting all the fairy dust. But Harry Potter, I mean, you've got good witches, bad witches, Wizard of Oz. Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
Yeah, there's no such
There's
thing.
no
If you're a
such
witch,
thing.
you're a witch,
So, you've got the whole magic thing that right off the bat, and Disney truly believed in this. This is what his faith was. And so he's trying to promote it, and that's led to all Harry Potter and Pokemon and all these other things that are really now leading us toward hardcore Satanism and witchcraft.
Well, and just to add here, in case anyone is not aware, though our listeners are probably usually quite aware, but if children are to read some of the spells in the Harry Potter books,
They're literal spells.
They are literal spells, and they actually open themselves to spiritual beings coming to their home and into their lives. So the innocence is lost. It's not even, and this is why I'm very sensitive, because sometimes, when I teach kids about rhyming and they say something that reminds me of Harry Potter's spell, I was like, no, like we have to be very careful of what we use. What comes out of our mouths, because it's very powerful. But if it's put in children's literature, then they don't know it. And
Disney is by no means the only one guilty of that. You had the Warner Brothers cartoons, and if you think back to, I grew up on Bugs Bunny. He was great. But you start looking at some of the themes within there, and there's magic in there, and there's and by the way, Mel Blanc, who did most of the voices for Warner Brothers, he was a Shriner. So you're talking a high-level Mason there. So going back to Walt Disney, there's a lot of belief that Walt Disney was a Freemason. There's no evidence of it, actually. Now, he was part of BMLA, which is kind of a youth group that is used as recruiting grounds. Roy Disney, his brother, was a Freemason. And but there's no proof per se that he was actually Freemason. But then you think about it, then why would he have Club 33 within both Disneyland and Disney World, the club for high-ranking Freemasons? So what I wanted to do is I wanted to show some of the imagery that is within Disney cartoons to show that this isn't just it's not just about making magic fun, because there's a lot of people who believe that is the case, that they're not aware of the power behind it, they're not aware of the spirit behind it. When it comes to Disney, they know full well what they're doing. And as a matter of fact, their agenda is for, let's get it right out and say it, for the corruption of little children. Yeah. Okay. So,
and actually, I'm just seeing the comments here. Yes, many of us and many previous generations have allowed our children to watch. We have watched Disney, and it was kind of, so I want you, as you're listening, because Daryl's going to come up with all kinds of stuff now to show you how evil it really is. You have to remember that you can always repent. You can always cut any of the connections. You can always pray and reject that into your life. And you can always have a clean slate. But you need to close those doors.
Mm-hmm.
So do not let Satan tell you that you're a horrible person because you've watched Disney, because you've participated. But let God give you that fresh start and cut yourself from it.
Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share screen, and I'm going to show, someone's saying that there's no sound, but everybody else seems to be hearing. So not sure what the issue is there. Okay, so let's see if we can figure out. So I tried this yesterday, and Yossi had to rescue me. Share screen, and okay, so we're going to start with this one here. So we're going to share that. I
do wonder, though, if I turn away from the mic. Some people have said that if I turn away from the mic, maybe the sound. So let us know also about how the sound is, as Darryl is going to go over the subliminal messages in Disney.
Okay. So you've got subliminal. So what is subliminal messaging? It is something that is put with, it's a message that's given that your conscious mind doesn't pick up.
It goes past your conscience and straight to subconscious. mind. So
Yeah.
it bypasses your filters, your
Right.
conscious filters, and it's there. You are not protected from it.
Right. So there was, and I cover this in my book. And if you haven't gotten hold of my book, make sure you order a copy. It's the Red Mark on God's Forehead. And when I come to the chapter on, I should always remember to have this with me when I start the show.
Yes, and now that our screen's kind of small, they may not be able to see it.
Yeah.
So we'll show it in a bit.
Yeah.
But,
So the Red Mark on God's Forehead, most of you know this. You can contact our ministry, or you can go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Chapters or Friesen Press, and you can get it. In chapter 9, I reference one of the most influential books for me that I've ever read, and it's called What We Say, or What to Say When We Talk to Ourselves. And it was written by psychologist Shad Helmstetter. And the sound's cutting in and out. Huh? Okay.
Maybe if we get it closer to us.
I think it's because it's a compression mic. So here, let me see if we can. Is that any better?
Alrighty, so we're changing the setting here in
All right.
hopes.
Yeah, I really need to talk to someone who can help understand how this mic works, because it's finicky.
Yes.
But anyway, so What to Say When We Talk to Ourselves shows how the subconscious mind is about 2 million times as big as the conscious mind. So there's 2 million times the number of neurons that are active at the same time. So in 1 second of activity, the conscious mind, which works in words, is so when we talk with each other, our conscious mind is active. About 2,000 neurons in a second of activity. In that same second of activity, the subconscious mind has 4 billion neurons, because it is driven by images and sounds and pictures and things like that. So what subliminal advertising does is, in a regular cartoon used to be 24 frames per second. Okay, anything less than that, and you would start to see the breakup. Now they do it as fast as 60, from what I understand.
Well, what is it that the kids are watching nowadays? That TikTok. I mean, that is so fast, and it comes at you so quickly that you can't consciously process everything at once. But your subconscious has picked it up.
Yeah. So the subconscious mind has the ability, because it just receives what it is given. And the subconscious mind has no ability to differentiate between what's fact and what's fiction, what's true and what's false. It is what it is. And so that's why we are being programmed. And our programming determines what our belief system is, which of course will determine what our attitudes are and what eventually our behavior is.
And I just want to mention here that the subconscious has a strong connection to our emotions. Sometimes, we feel certain ways. I mean, sometimes things happen. We know why we feel a certain way, but sometimes we feel a certain way and we don't know why. That's all the work of our subconscious.
So you can see here an example of subliminal advertising with Ghibli's gin. And you have here this glass here on the right-hand side, and you can see it's highlighted the word sex in there.
So the ice cubes make the letters contain the letters.
So you're not going to watch this ad and say, oh, look at that word that's in there. But the subconscious mind will pick that up, and it, of course, will start to influence you as to what your behavior is. Now, advertisers do this openly all the time, and they do it very intentionally. So, the idea of advertising is to draw your emotions into it. And when you have beer commercials that every time you open up a beer, you've got women in bikinis come out all over the place. I've opened a fair number of beers in my life. That's never happened to me.
So that's when the logic is tossed out the window and there's this wishful thinking. Like, that's what I'm saying. To you.
Yeah.
And that's why you want to believe in magic too, that women will actually appear.
Right. So, if I'm opening a beer down at the house, I'm pretty sure you're not running upstairs to get into something skimpy to come down. But the emotions are believing that, and so there is a draw on us to do that. Okay.
And if somebody was looking at that gin commercial, they actually saw those letters so clearly, they would say, "Oh, this is scandalous," and they'll reject it. But when it's subliminal, it goes right past our
Yeah.
filters.
Yeah. Okay. So you can see that, and subliminal messages do work. They tried this out at a drive-in movie theater back in the 1950s, and they were flashing just like one frame, and it would say, "Buy popcorn, drink Coke. Buy popcorn, drink Coke." And they said it was the only time in that theater's history that they got completely, they ran out of pop entirely, and they couldn't keep up with the popcorn.
There was a time when actually it was morally acceptable to do experiments like that. With
Well,
the
no, it's once they
population.
found out about it, then they realized, and they banned it. Okay, so what they did is they it became illegal, but that doesn't mean that it still doesn't happen. So you look at, for instance, some of the Disney stuff, and so here you have.
Snow White.
Is
Oh no,
this-
that's Cinderella. Sorry,
this Cinderella? Okay, so you can see here you've got the word sex that is written on the ice. Your conscious mind won't pick that up, but the subconscious mind will.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, there are so many examples within
And it's
Disney.
amazing that most of the stuff that is subliminal is sexual, which makes you wonder why.
Well, we're going to get to that. So here are some other examples, and if you've got some children watching, make sure you hide their faces because we don't want them exposed. But in what was this? The Rescuers. So they're passing by a window, and there is a topless woman in the window. It was only a very quick picture. You wouldn't have picked it up. And this actually wasn't seen until it came out on a VHS. And so someone had stopped it,
Yeah.
looked, and said, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah.
And then Disney, of course, did this massive recall, and they've now censored it out. But it was there. Lion King, very famously, you've got even the posters where you've got a woman's backside in a bikini. Okay, again, what is the theme here? It's all sexual.
Yeah.
Okay, Lilo and Stitch. So you've got all these posters on the wall, and they're very graphic and inappropriate for children to be seeing. You're focusing on this, but your subconscious mind is picking up all these pictures, and we are sexualizing the children. Now, Disney has come right out. I mean, there's no more hiding it anymore. They're now saying that, you've got DEI agents in there. Disney has always been known for having a disproportionate amount of people of the LGBTQ community working for them. There have been a huge number of instances of sexual assault that have happened on the grounds. Well, of course, there's no.
Guess what? All those sexual messages work on their staff, and so everybody's being
Well, they're
sexualized.
hiring them very specifically for that purpose.
Yeah. And
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a Disney. It's a gift card, and you've got Mickey with his hand around Minnie, and she's wearing a dress. Well, that don't look like no dress that I've ever seen.
Oh.
That's supposed to be her breasts. Well, they're not supposed to be up under her nose like that. But this is it's no question about what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Duck trying to get a rock out of his sleeping bag. What is a rock doing right there?
Right.
Okay, what is this promoting? We all know. And there are Disney Channel also had human shows.
Yeah, like live actors.
Yeah. Well, you can see here in the background, Illuminati. Well, if Walt Disney wasn't part of Freemasonry, why is he promoting the Illuminati within his within his movies? If you go to here's a Uncle Scrooge cartoon, and he's at the doctor. Ask about Illuminati. I mean, my goodness. It's right out there for everybody to see. So it's truly amazing. You've got the all-seeing eye. The very Disney alone, the logo is 666.
Yeah.
So you got a backwards 6 here. You've got it over the I. And then you've got the Y, which is a stylized 6.
Yeah.
Okay. You look at the way the name Mickey is written, and if you mirror it, let's see if there's a closer picture. We'll get to that in a second. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. So you've got Mickey, and if you see it upside down, mirrored, it says wicked.
Yeah.
This is not unintentional. Furthermore, you've got the all-seeing eye. I mean, look at this. You've got Mickey doing the pyramid sign. You've got the pentagram there with Donald. You have here the all-seeing eye on Goofy's shirt. You've got the pyramid there. There is a picture of Walt Disney wearing a very creepy-looking cape with a bunch of other guys. I'm not sure which organization this is, but I mean, come on. And then, of course, you have the Masonic checkerboard, which is prevalent in a lot of their movies. In Winnie the Pooh, you've got the devil's horns there. And think about the Beauty and the Beast. What is the whole idea of that? And there was a remake that came out just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And the Beast actually had horns. So
Yeah.
what is that? What is that depicting? That is a woman falling in love with the devil.
Yeah.
Because what is the beast? The beast is from Revelation
Yeah.
chapter 12.
Yeah.
Again,
He may be
Peter-
repulsive at first, but there's this niceness behind it all.
Yeah,
No, there isn't.
you just got to give him a chance.
No, there isn't.
Okay. Peter Pan, again, there's a picture of him and he's got an erection there. There's the triangles. So this is from the animated series Elena Avalor. I don't even know.
Avalor, yes.
I don't even know what that is. But there's these.
It is like the girls really like it because she's this mighty princess.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
What's with the name Elena?
Well, I mean, maybe historically we can look at that, but anyway.
Okay, but you look at these now. Why would he have these tattoos of these triangles all over the place?
Yeah.
What is that depicting? Well, if you go to the FBI, this is a pedophilia symbol.
Boy lover.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is a little boy lover. So these are well known. And by the way, Justin Trudeau, if you look at his foundation, his logo is very similar to
the
this.
Justin Trudeau Foundation. The Trudeau Foundation, I think it calls it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's wild.
Yeah.
I can hear you on Facebook, but not here. There's no sound on the Lamb Network.
It seems like our sound does not translate well on the Lamb Network, but we do broadcast this on YouTube and
Facebook.
Facebook is Raha Emmet Broadcast.
Yeah.
And on YouTube is A Light to the Nations.
Yeah.
Messianic
Well,
Ministries.
there's someone who's following us on Facebook here.
So yeah, if the Messianic Lamb Network has no sound, yes, please do try to watch us on the other places we broadcast.
So anyway, going back to all the symbolism. So there is a constant barrage of symbolism within just about every Disney, and the theme behind them too. It is all evil. It is all wickedness. Here again, you've got the this is the CD storybook for
the Jungle Book.
The Jungle Book. I love that movie. It's the bare necessities. Well,
Right.
the bare necessities?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
And so you have Mowgli lying in a very suggestive position on top of Baloo, and you've got that triangle that not only does it have the interwoven pattern of the pedophilia symbol, but this here is also about the all-seeing eye, so it's combining it together.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, so here you have a another cartoon, the
That's
Mickey Mouse.
Donald Duck there. But anyway.
Yeah. So here you've got toys that are being sold in the store. I mean, a microphone. Look at the shape of this thing.
Yeah.
Here's the equipment and everything else. Disney Frozen. Again, I mean, how much more obvious does it have to be than that? You've got here Buzz Lightyear cup with the straw. Look where it is. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's blatantly in our faces. And then, of course, here's a ride at Disney World.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Wicked Mickey.
Yep.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
So that is
all right. So
just a little preview of.
So, but there's more. There's more. Yes, Pinocchio is about child trafficking. Very true. You go to the island. So it's
of
teaching
Lost Boys.
Yeah, and it's all about rebellion.
And so, what we want to do is bring this to your conscious understanding, so that you would understand that the things that we have held emotional attachment to, they're really truly repulsive.
Yeah, there's some more cartoons here. You can see that they're flashing the devil's horns. Where are we here? So
and how are they dressed? So anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So you got the devil's horns there. Where did we go here? Oh yes. Here is SpongeBob SquarePants. The
pyramid with
Illuminati
the eye.
pyramid with the eye. You've got Mickey Mouse flashing the V sign, which is this was from the V sign actually is about false grace, because it's the 5 eye wills of Lucifer.
I know. It's like the Roman.
Yeah, the Roman numeral 5. Now we portray it as victory. But that's not what the origins of that were for. Again, you've got SpongeBob. You've got the all-seeing eye. You've got the ant bully. You've got the Masonic square and compass. You've got Papa Smurf. And how is it that you have this whole colony of males and there's one female in there? That's just a little weird. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you're just supposed to accept it.
Okay. Alice in Wonderland, you've got the devil's horns. And by the way, Alice in Wonderland and Wizard of Oz are two of the most prominent movies in mind control programming. Because what are they doing? They're talking about escapism. So, and as
it's another world, not where you are.
Well, yes. And so as Leonie and I were discussing last week with Monarch programming, MK Ultra, Monarch Mind Control. So it's trauma based, and what they do is they torture usually young children, and we'll get into the whole what's going on underneath Disney in a minute. But what you do is you torture them through sleep deprivation, through electric shocks, through jugs, through the trauma of killing animals, and they'll even kill other people in front of them in order to traumatize them to the point.
Or family members sometimes. Yep. But anyway, all of it is really, if you notice the theme, though, is removing a child from their home. A child leaves their home and escapes somewhere else. Well, and that's where they have all these adventures.
Yeah. And, what is one of the other main themes within Disney cartoons is usually a parent dies. You've got that in Bambi. You've got that in, Frozen. You see the ship going on this huge storm, and all of a sudden the ship doesn't come up. You know that the parents died. Many times there's this death
tragedy.
Death of a parent. And so it's the orphan spirit that they're trying to promote, where someone else comes along and adopts them.
And this is why we've also, many of our other shows, we're talking about preserving the family, because when the family falls apart, that's when a person is destroyed. And that's what Walt Disney is, that we're talking about right now, is promoting. Right. And yes, we just need to keep the families intact. But let's keep going.
Yeah. So you've got Fantasia, Monarch Butterfly, and you'll see a lot of stars, Hollywood stars, especially the women. They'll have a butterfly, either a tattoo or there'll be a dress. You see a lot of magazine covers where they'll do photo shoots, and the monarch butterfly is prominent. Why monarch? Why is it called monarch mind control? It's because the monarch butterfly is known for being able to travel thousands of
It's
miles.
the only migrating insect.
Right.
Really, it migrates as far as birds migrate.
Yeah, it goes to they start off in
From
Mexico.
Mexico, so it goes between Mexico and Canada, which is
Yeah. They fly right over the United States.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Flyover country.
they stop in the United States too, but they do
Yeah.
come all the way here to Canada for
Right.
sure.
But it is genetic. And so this idea of programming, so again, going back to trauma-based mind control, what they do is they torture you, and then they'll play a song for you over the rainbow, down the rabbit hole.
Appealing to your subconscious emotions.
So no, but what they're doing is they're actually fragmenting the soul. They're creating an alternative personality so that when they escape the torture, that you now have it's like partitioning a hard drive. And so now you've got a separate place in your brain that they can mold. So if you look at the Manchurian Candidate, that movie from way back in the 60s, they were telling us what they were doing. The Jason Bourne series, again, he was created to be a super soldier. And I showed last week on our broadcast the book by Russ Dizdar, The Black Awakening, where you've got literally he estimates millions of super soldiers that are out there waiting for the programming to trigger.
Right. And when you're going through traumatic experiences, you tend to disassociate because the pain is so great. You
Yes.
want to escape somewhere. And we've spoken to someone in former communist Russia. They say that a lot of people in Russia during communist times were coping with the dictatorship in
Mhm.
such a way. And so, that's just, and I would say even COVID now was a way to traumatize us and to
Mhm.
promote this further. So just watch out for things that are happening around us.
Very prominent within Disney cartoons is the checkered floor from Masonry, which talks about duality. So you've got the Baphomet, as above, so below. And by the way, Eugene Peterson's Message Bible. Okay, so he was, I don't know what he was, but a lot of people read the Message Bible, and it says
All right.
from where Yeshua's doing the in Matthew 18, the Lord's Prayer, on earth as it is in heaven. In the Message Bible, Eugene Peters says, as above, so below.
Yeah.
It's an occultic, demonic phrase that is put right into a Bible translation.
Yeah, so watch what Bible translation you're reading.
Okay.
Too.
Fantasia, again, dealing with magic and so here, according to Illuminati programmer Fritz Springmeier, so he became a believer, Disney's Fantasia is one of the main programming tools used by the Illuminati to create monarch mind control slaves. The rainbow and Takarana, the Rainbow Bridge, has a special significance in programming as it represents a bridge between both the real world, and the fantasy world created by the program. Again, they're trying to escape the brutal reality that they're dealing with, and so they go to a happy place.
We have a rainbow bridge here in Niagara Falls.
We do.
I'm just, anyway, putting it out there.
Okay, so you've got a skull here with, I don't even know what that's coming out of. So flowers or hearts or something like that. Butterflies. You've got the butterfly here, and that's in Fantasia. So again, used prominently within programming. And, my goodness, you go back to even the Disney show. And what did it start out with? You have that castle that she's flying around. What castle was that? That was actually a castle that was used by the Nazis in Bavaria during World War II, and it stored hidden treasure that the Nazis had stolen.
Yes, and see, knowing this, and when friends of ours tell us, "Oh, we're going to Disney World, we're going on vacation, it really, I get a pit in my stomach, to be honest, because all the symbolism is so evil that is connected with Disney. When people are creating these emotional attachments by having family time, it really makes me sad. And I'm glad we're talking about this because um, we need to be aware. Yes, it is dark, but that's evil. Evil is dark, and so that's why we need to understand what the light is in order for us to be able to see the light more, the dark more clearly,
Absolutely.
and reject it.
Yeah, 100%. Now, underneath Disneyland and Disney World, there are known to be numerous tunnels, and they have a lot of instances of children disappearing. So, the whole child sex trafficking thing. Everything about Disney is sex, which is the god of Freemasonry. So, if you look at the all-seeing eye with the lines all around it, that is supposed to be a so the eye is supposed to be where do the Masons wear their apron? Okay, around their waist. Why is it an apron that they wear? And the eye is right over their penis. The all-seeing eye is supposed to be a penis, and all of those lines are supposed to be an ejaculation. Freemasonry, the square and the compass, it is a man and a woman in the missionary position. The God of Freemasonry is all about sex. It is all about, so what does God say? Be holy for I am holy. He says sex is to be within the confines of a marriage. What on earth are we doing sexualizing our children like this? We are robbing them of their innocence, and God is very, very angry about that. And the judgment why do you think that the United States and Canada and Western Europe are under such judgment right now? Why is there an invasion happening in the U.S.? Because God said in Deuteronomy 28 that the aliens will have control over you. He says you will go out one way against your enemies and you will flee seven. And so what has happened is when the United States is the largest purveyor of child sex trafficking in the world. It is the largest creator of pornography in the world. It is the drug usage is by far and away the largest. The United States, many believe, is the center of Mystery Babylon. We're going to be covering that actually on the Roch Hamet broadcast in a couple of weeks. But my goodness, how is it that we can honestly, and for a Christian to take their kids and expose them, they have drag queen story hours. Within Disney now, you go to one of the parks, they're not even allowed to use ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Because we've got into this gender blurring thing again, Baphomet, which is androgynous. Every single thing about Disney is for the robbing of our children's innocence. And they're very good at it too. Like the production quality is amazing within Disney. They have billions of dollars to throw at this agenda.
If we put this much effort into building God's kingdom as much as the enemy puts into building their evil empires and organizations, we would have no issues like these.
Yep.
And I think one of the things that's happened in North America is just believers have become more passive. And, there's this belief that Christians are supposed to be passive. No, we are to constantly work on behalf of God. We are obviously not to murder. We are obviously not to use certain language and things like that, but that doesn't make us passive in any way. And so we need to hate evil. We need to hate evil. If we are to love everyone, but we are to hate evil.
And actually in the Psalms, it says that the fear of the Lord is to hate all evil. And, Job chapter 28, where is wisdom? It is turning away from those things. So, and it's not just the sex stuff too. It is, of course, the Satanism. We've shown the devil's horns. I mean, going back to Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon is a production of Disney. It's
isn't SpongeBob from that?
SpongeBob is part of it, but if you look at Nickelodeon, translated from Latin, it's Nick. Hang on, I actually have that written down. Yeah. Nickelodio, which means I don't care about God.
Oh, Dio, you're right. Okay.
Nickelodio, I don't care about God.
Yeah.
And if you look at all of the symbolism, you've got the all-seeing eye that's even in its logo. You have the pyramid within SpongeBob. Where does SpongeBob SquarePants live?
Yeah.
Where is his home? At Bikini Bottom.
I mean that
it's
just-
right out there in front of our faces.
That alone should tell parents, you know what, please do not watch this. Like, should not allow their children. And they've made it look so innocent. And, and it's hard to bring it up to parents, and I think we need to talk about this. So how do you bring it up to people?
Yeah.
How, without sounding crazy, how do you warn them about this great danger? There is a very systematic agenda here being put forth, and we're just being kind of, it's no big deal. And we can't be this way. But how do we do this?
Well, what we have to understand is that there is a spirit behind Disney.
Yes.
There's a lot of people when they come to the truth about Christmas. Chapter 3.
Oh, there it is.
Yep. Chapter 3 is all about the origins of Christmas, Nimrod. Why is it that so many people have such difficulty in giving up Christmas? It's because there's a spirit behind it. It's not just emotional attachment. There is a spiritual entity behind it. It's the spirit of Christmas.
Yep.
We talk about that.
Well, and I've shared with you, what was a couple of 2-3 years ago. I would drive down the street around Christmas time, and obviously would see everybody puts their tree by the window.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord had me see kind of portals open over those trees, and those are spiritual.
Those are the idols.
They're spiritual portals, and they're not of God, those Christmas trees. And so if we do something that is not of God, actually goes against God's word, which is in Jeremiah 10, not cutting, tree from the forest and bringing it into your home. Then we're opening our door to something else if it's not of God.
Right.
And that's all we need to understand.
So there is a definite spirit behind Disney. It is a corrupting spirit. It is a sexual spirit. I'm sure Jezebel's involved there somewhere. And we have to protect our kids. So if you've got Disney stuff, and you look at some of the other themes within Disney. Again, last week we talked about Happy Feet, which kind of leads into the whole alien invasion that's coming, and the revelation that those aliens will actually be fallen angels and demonic entities, but it's going to be a ruse. So there's this huge attachment that we have, and it's a spiritual thing. So what we need to do is, number one, first of all, we have to cleanse our houses. Yeah. We've got to get rid of these things.
Well, and I just wanted to kind of interject here a little bit. Disney stuff costs a lot of money.
It does.
So we're going poor over Disney stuff too. So they're robbing us financially because
part of it.
because of that. That's what I'm saying. And I don't want it to stay hidden. We have to understand that that's another attack on us, on our finances, and holding us slaves. And because we have the emotional attachment, we would buy something we don't really need, and then we would have hard time departing because it cost us so much money. Well, you know what? It's better to be poor and clean than than otherwise.
Yep. Better is one day in your courts than 1,000 elsewhere. Bob Kenny says, "Why do they use the name Bob so much in their shows?" We'll go with Robert for you.
Yeah.
So, first of all, you need to do a cleansing. And if there's any kind of emotional attachment, Bob Hall is saying he went through the death stage process, took about 2 weeks for the cleansing. So there is a kind of drying out period, a time where you detox.
Right. And I want to read the rest of his comment, though. I was angry and hurt, because this emotional thing, when you realize it was all a lie, we all feel hurt and we get angry that we feel violated.
Absolutely. and knowing that you're violating your kids and subjecting them to wickedness. I mean, the reason why we started School Pods Canada was because children are being they're being targeted, they're being abused, and
it's subliminal. Like, a lot of parents say, I don't see anything much wrong with the schools and what's being promoted. No, because you haven't looked into it. And that's the thing. It is just so grievous. It is very grievous. And we have to make sure that we attack this in a spiritual way. So please pray, because there is a spirit, all that emotion, all these emotions that are coming, ask God to help you with the emotions.
Yeah. Lisa's asking if this information is somewhere on our website. It isn't as of yet, but I'm thinking about possibly writing an article on my blog site. So you can go to alttnmessianic.com. But this program, this broadcast will be up on Lamb Network for a week, and it'll be up on the YouTube and Facebook pages as well, so you can watch it over again and do your own research.
Yes.
So, RTF, we went through that.
Restoring the foundations. Yes, thank
Love
you,
it.
Lisa. We did go through this.
Lisa, email us. We'd love to talk to you further. Go to info@alttnmessianic.com. All right. Well, we could keep going on this, but we've come to an end. So I just wanted to say,
we said enough.
Well, no, we want to end it off by saying, make sure you get rid of your Disney stuff, your paraphernalia, your toys, the movies, and don't give them to someone else. Throw them away, burn them if you can. Acts chapter 19, they took their material and they went out and burned it. And then ask God to forgive you, repent, claim the blood of Yeshua over your house, over your children, cleanse your houses of the spirit of Disney, and make sure that we don't go back to it.
And if this act creates a void in you, then find something of God to fill that void.
Amen.
Don't leave an empty void.
All right. Well, we want to thank everybody so much for joining us once again. It has been tremendous. And give us a like, give us a share, and we will look forward to seeing you next week right here on lamnetwork.tv. Shavua Tov. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
I won't run from the crushing. I'll hold on through the pain. What I lose means nothing.
If you missed today's show or want to watch it again, or want to tell someone where they can watch this episode, go to lamnetwork.tv, where you can find this show and all the other live Lamb Show archives in the on-demand section of the website. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to tell someone about the Messianic Lamb Network.
I just wanna be your sanctuary, a dwelling place for grace and mercy. Keep sifting me till everything is on the threshing floor.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussions, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take a tour of the lamnetwork.tv website. I'm Darryl Weinberg, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.